How goes it, ladies and gentlemen? My name is Emmett, and as always, please do your own research. I'm but one talking head amongst a sea of many, and I'm looking at things from a 3,000-foot view. So, real quick, I'm doing too many things at once. I'm trying to reformat a computer. I'm trying to get my other stuff organized, and I still have some life-changing stuff that's going on that I'm trying to get settled. Eventually I will come around to start making consistent videos again, but for the time being, just small updates every here and there I suppose will suffice. Now, ladies and gentlemen, it is December, at least at the time of making this video, and one thing that I do want to point out, at least, that I have been seeing just slowly on the rise, and something that in my personal opinion shouldn't be happening. So with everybody else who is in that sphere, you will know what a nuisance streamer is. They are gaining in infamy is a word. Yeah, gaining in infamy. That's the right term I want to use. I would say popularity, but popularity would mean that there's something redeemable about it. But with these individuals, there is not. The most famous case being Johnny Somali. For people who don't know, I'm not going to go over a whole lot of details here. So again, please do your own research. But essentially, one of the more infamous ones that made it into the public light, that people quite absolutely fucking despise, and I myself don't like this individual either. Last I checked, he had his equipment taken in Korea. He's stuck in Korea, and he's essentially just living homeless after being such a nuisance. Now, with all that being said, he did get a little bit of a start in Japan, of course, still being a nuisance streamer, and Japan, quite frankly, didn't really do anything to stop him. And I don't want to say this to insult Japan. I don't want to say this to like put them in the limelight of anything. Japan, I understand. I've been to Japan, like 7 or 8 times in this lifetime, and I'm actually about to go back again. Beautiful country. Be polite to the people. Be polite to everybody. If you don't know something, it used to be you could just, hey, I apologize, and you could just kind of sort of have a one-off conversation with them. Not a deep one, because obviously English is not their first language, but that's beside the point. Google Translate will get you far. But when it comes to this situation, they essentially let Johnny Somali off the hook. Fuck. So with that, and knowing how people like to be, it was only a matter of time, and it looks like it's actually coming to a head as of now, to where you have a shitload of nuisance streamers that are going to Japan and just obviously being nuisances. I do not like this. Unfortunately, there is nothing that I can personally do about it, at least in my current position. Now, when I say all of this honestly does make me, as somebody who's going to Japan to absorb the culture and not be an asshole, this does make me worrisome, because as much as I would like to go out and absorb the culture, probably get to know maybe 1 or 2 extra people out there and just generally enjoy Japan as of what it's worth, that is now going to be severely limited, as well as everybody else who is going to Japan post this incident. Your experiences as a foreigner in Japan will be extremely limited, because you have these jackasses that are coming over here and they're just being complete nuisances. I've said it so many times. You understand the point of the video. So along with this, with him being rude and all of this nonsense, a lot of people have spoken out and said, hey, look, we don't want these people back. You can keep them. And it was until recently that I was on their side. It's like, yeah, we don't want these people back. They're assholes. Lock them up in one of your prisons, and the world will be all the better for it. And then it struck me, when did we, or at least I'm going to speak towards the American audience here, because hey, I am American. When do we get okay? When do we become okay with just like exporting all of the bad shit? All of the weirdness, all of the, I will say this, woke, but when I say woke, I mean to say cringe. I'm sorry, they're both interchangeable for me, and I'm, getting older and learning things as I go. But when did we get okay with just like exporting all of this like weird shit? Honestly. Because before, if we had people like that in the States, before, too many laws changed and everything became a little bit too sensitive for my liking, just saying, we used to deal with people like this. We used to deal with them properly and make it so they understood that if they're going to be stupid, that their life would be miserable. It doesn't seem to really happen as much in the States anymore, and that's weird. And people want to hop on the bandwagon saying, oh yeah, well, it's Japan, excuse me, I apologize. But Japan and all these foreign countries have a right to defend themselves against this shit. And you're right, they do. They do have that right to defend themselves. However, while they have that right, it's also our responsibility to make sure we curtail this nonsense. So why is it getting through? That's my question. We have all of these technologies, all of this stuff that will bring us closer together, and we have individuals out there who just make the worst of it and just make everybody look bad. Why has this come to a point of acceptance? Why are there people out there who are greenlighting this? Why are they getting paid for being a dick? I don't understand. Maybe it's just me. But at the same time, I know if I'm going someplace strange, and even though I know I'm probably not going to see it like again anytime soon, I'm not going to treat it like it's free content. I am in a lucky position to where a lot of other people do not have that opportunity. The last thing I'm going to want to do is make myself look like an asshole. The last thing I'm going to want to do is just leave a bad impression. And we have people that are going over there and they're just doing this 24/7, and I forgot what the specific name of the movement in Japan is, but I've been there so many times, but I forgot the specific name of that movement. But there is I want to say an imperial movement in Japan to where, hey, Japan wants to be separated from the rest of the world. They didn't have as many problems as they did beforehand until people from foreign nations started coming to visit and started moving in, and they want to go back to not having problems. And I understand their sentiment on that, even though I understand it, but I don't agree with it, because we can argue the same thing with America, really, but that's neither here nor there. But at the same time, it's like, when did it become other people's responsibility to deal with the rejects of our society? That's a legit question. It shouldn't be anybody else's responsibility except for the host nation's responsibility. Johnny Somali came from America. If they want to deport his ass back to America with some charges, by all means, deport his ass back with some charges. However, it should be withstanding that this man should be buried under the fucking prison. It's the same thing with all these other nuisance streamers. Deport them back to their original country with some charges. Cool, put them in prison and keep them there. These people, all in all, need a complete detox from the internet, and it has me worried about where the internet is going in the future, because believe it or not, I'm one of the people where, showing my age here a little bit, I was well enough, I understood what the internet was growing up. I was around essentially when it hit the mainstream and it started becoming the default for everything. I was around when Facebook and MySpace were first invented, Jesus Christ, and never back then would I imagine that this would be something that I would have to worry about. And now here it is. And honestly, ladies and gentlemen, I'm sitting here complaining with it, but ultimately I don't know what to do about it. We can't kick everybody off of the freaking internet. We can't just ban technology. Unfortunately, we kind of need it to, do daily things in our lives. I don't want a system to where it mimics China, to where how much you're allowed to do whatever you can online. I know right now it's strictly limited to games, but I don't want a system like that in China to where it limits yourself. However, we do need to have, at least in some way, shape, or form, some kind of system, preferably not government sponsored. I'm all for having a smaller government, where if you are one of these streamers, then you will be shut down. If you are one of these people who are known to cause problems, and I mean legitimate problems, not just, oh, well, they're political opponents nonsense. Fuck that shit. I'm not here talking about that. We're here talking about they are a legitimate problem. Cool. Shut down, kicked off, no more internet for you. We need to have, in my personal opinion, something like that. And again, preferably not government sponsored. But that's just my own two opinions. All in all, this is a frustrating situation. I did this in one take. I know I'm talking in circles here, but it legitimately has me worried as somebody who's about to go back to Japan, probably for the last time in my life, to know that, hey, this time the air is going to be different. I'm going to be treated like an asshole, and I haven't done anything. I'm going to be treated differently because of the asshole that I don't know, and I have no association with it. Again, I don't blame Japan. Because of that asshole that I have no association with did something so fucking heinous that I'm no longer allowed to enjoy it. And one more thing before I go, before everybody starts screaming about, oh, well, it's racist, it's racist, it's racist. It's like, cool, that problem doesn't exist in Japan. Everybody that screams that it's a racist problem, literally that issue, not literally, but the only place that I know of right now, after doing a brief amount of research, where that problem is at the forefront is in America. And I can tell you right now, after living so long in America, it was never a fucking problem for me growing up. I've lived both on and off military posts. It was never a problem for me growing up. It wasn't a problem until around 2008. And then it went away for a little bit. And now it's back in full force. So keep that in mind for anybody else who wants to cry racism. It's like, y'all are quite literally the only people that are actively fucking talking about it. That problem does not exist in Japan. That problem does not exist, as far as I can tell, in Korea. They will treat you one and the same if you are polite. Work on that basis. Do that in the States, and you're gonna notice that all of these problems that you keep crying racism over, guess what? It's gonna fucking disappear. Racism only exists if you keep fucking talking about it. Stop talking about it. Like, fucking Morgan Freeman had it right. If you want it to go away, stop talking about it. Jesus Christ. All right, I know I got a little hyper at the end of this, but ladies and gentlemen, that's just about my time. I apologize. This is something I wanted to vent off of my chest because, quite frankly, it is weighing on me, and it is something that I am going to worry about. And quite frankly, I will also say this, in addition to where this needs to be handled in the States, or at least wherever these nuisance people are coming from, I noticed that most of these people have Kick accounts. Hey, Kick, what the fuck are you doing that you're allowing all of this to happen? Like, I understand you're trying to be like the Twitch alternative and all that, but what the fuck are you doing? Because if you want jackasses and dipshits, this is how you get jackasses and dipshits. You created an entire armada of clout-hungry goblins that will do anything for that clout. Because, oh, well, we didn't want to obey the rules on Twitch. Cool, you didn't obey the rules on Twitch. I can't imagine that your business is actually kind of sort of floating by, doing well. Granted, you have the power of gambling, so I don't know the analytics and I don't know the business numbers behind that. But as an alternative to Twitch, for you to allow all this degenerate fucking behavior, like, what are you doing? Honestly. Because at this point, there is not a shadow of a doubt in my mind that down the line, you will be facing lawsuits for this. A lot of other countries don't work the same as the fucking US. A lot of other countries will see this, they'll sue them, or at least indict them, and then they'll start coming after you. For fuck's sake, clean up your act. It's not that hard. Make a terms of service. Twitch is already fucking rock bottom. You really can't do too much else to fuck it up. Anyway, that's just about my time, ladies and gentlemen. I apologize. I may have gone off on quite a bit here, so please forgive me. First upload back. I'm going to try to get into uploading more videos. I know I promised an FAL video at one point in time, but unfortunately that doesn't really look like it's going to be in the cards. But instead, I will try to get back to doing more artsy stuff and more gun reviews. This is just a one-off thing that I wanted to make. Stay safe, have a good one, and I'm out.